Welcome, everybody. This is a special meeting of the Municipal Council of the City of Westmount held in council chambers of City Hall on September 1, 2026 at 1300 hours, at which are present Memstern Mayor, Councillor Aronson, Councillor Chomsky, Councillor Levine, Councillor Moss, and Councillor Shami. Have everybody? Yes. Also in attendance, of course, is Dave Lapointe, our substitute Director General, and we have our drafting clerks here as well. So I call the meeting to order at 1:04, and I call a couple things I have to say before is that we're here really for two important matters that require important attention. There are notice of motion of two bylaws that have to be passed, and they're rather important and pressing. That's why we're doing it by way of a special or emergency meeting. The first has to do with the financing of options available to us with regards to the PPU with the Southeast. There will be a lot of infrastructure needed, and we have the right, and we will be passing a bylaw which will require developers to pay part of the cost of those infrastructure costs. The second has to do with a bylaw for the safe routes to change 3 streets to one-way. And that would be, of course, Kensington, Metcalfe, and Argyle. I have some comments which I should go through just to give you on that issue. With Argyle on the other issue, there doesn't seem to be much controversy. So I'd like to explain. So earlier this year, the Council unanimously approved moving forward with Phase 2 of the Safe and Active School Routes project. Following implementation of the project, a question arose concerning the regulatory instrument required to establish the one-way configurations. The City has determined that a bylaw is required, and we are acting promptly to complete that process. Yesterday, in addition, so this process is underway. There is a court claim by some residents of Argyle, so it's in court, so I have limited ability to discuss the matter further. However, the same residents filed a type of interlocutory motion to reverse what we did on an emergency basis, asking a judge to rule within that it should be changed back temporarily to a two-way and a 24-hour basis. So the judge yesterday, Superior Court, considered the application, seeking an emergency order requiring the city to reverse the one-way configuration on Argyle. The court dismissed this application with judicial costs in favor of the city. In essence, the judge ruled that this is not an emergency. The bylaw will be passed soon in any case. It's not possible to change it back in 24 hours, even if the judge so ruled. And it would be placing, most importantly, it would be placing our children and adults at risk. They got used to and are known that it's one-way now, and to change it to two-way overnight would be endangering them. The court was clear on two things. First, the appropriate regulatory requirements are important and must be respected. We agree, and that's why this matters before council today. Second, the court declined to order the configuration reversed, as I just said. Among other things, the court ruled the city's evidence and the new configuration is safer for users, the school safety objectives of the project, and the disruption and confusion that would result from repeatedly changing the configuration as 5 schools are returning to class. Today's action is therefore straightforward. We are taking the regulatory step required to give effect to a project that council has already approved, while continuing to monitor its implementation and make appropriate adjustments based on what we observe on the ground. So I'll go to the question period, but there was an issue last time with questions taking a lot of time. So I'm gonna have to put a 2-minute timeline on questions to allow everyone to ask their questions as they would like. It's to be fair to everybody. And again, there's a limit to what I can answer having to do with Argyle. And again, we're not passing the bylaws today. That's for the next week.
Hi.
Yes. Hi.
So my name is Sophie Dineboard, and I'm a resident of Argyle. And so before I ask my questions, I think that we need to acknowledge why we are all here today. And we are here because the city implemented these one-way streets without first adopting the bylaw required to do so. We raised this issue with you repeatedly in June, July, August, and we were dismissed. So ultimately, we had to take our own city to court to force you to follow the law. Think about how extraordinary that is. As a Westmount taxpayer, I am effectively paying twice for the city's failure to follow the proper legal process. Once through my taxes, which are paying for the city's lawyer to defend what it did.
What is your question, please? I will answer.
I will. And again, once out of my own pocket to challenge it. So none of this should have been necessary. I hope that before we move on today, as though this were simply an ordinary bylaw process, you all reflect on what this has cost, not only financially, but in public trust and goodwill.
What is your question, please?
So, my question. I want to challenge a statement that's contained in the proposed bylaw. The bylaw states that the Intervia expert report notably recommended converting certain streets into one-way streets. This statement matters because it tells council that this decision is supported by an expert recommendation. But it's not what the Intervia report says about Argyle. In describing the scenario involving Argyle, Intervia says, "Ce scénario de circulation propose d'analyser la mise en sens unique de l'avenue Argyle." So in English, this traffic scenario proposes to analyze making Argyle one-way. And its conclusion on Argyle, Intervia says, "Un aménagement à sens unique en direction sud permettrait." A southbound one-way configuration would have certain effects. And then Intervia describes those effects and proposes chicanes to mitigate speed. What Intervia does not say is we recommend converting Argyle from two-way to one-way. It does not compare a permanent one-way against reasonable two-way alternatives and conclude that one-way is preferable. So there is a fundamental difference between analyzing a proposed one-way configuration
You're at 2:45.
and making an expert recommendation that a street should be converted to one-way. This is very important.
Okay.
I think that
So
you
it's
should
very
actually
important.
take
Okay.
this seriously
Yes, I'm
because
taking
it's
it
very,
seriously.
very
Let me
important.
answer your question, please.
So, can you identify the exact page and passage in the Intervia report where Intervia actually recommends converting Argyle from two-way to one-way?
Thank you.
And if you cannot, then either remove Argyle from this bylaw or amend the recital so that the bylaw accurately reflects what the expert report actually says.
Okay.
So
let me answer your question. A few things. On the first issue, you painted like we did something wrong. So it's a question of
you did something wrong.
Can I answer? That's your opinion. Can I?
That's actually the court's opinion. I was in court, and I heard what the court said.
If
and
you
actually,
want me to answer the question, please be quiet and let me answer, please.
Okay.
So first of all, we have internal legal counsel. It was their opinion that a bylaw was not needed. If you look at our original 726 bylaw from 1969, Article 2.3, does say the council may from time to time, by resolution, pass regulation. Let me answer the question. So it was on that, this was the interpretation of our internal people. We relied on our internal people. I'll have you know, I was with 14 Montreal area mayors last week, and I discussed this at length with them, and none of them knew that you needed a bylaw to pass one way. So nobody did anything deliberately to cause a problem for you. We passed it, and they all said to me, well, it's obviously a simple thing. So if that's needed, just pass a bylaw.
But you
In
didn't.
addition,
You didn't pass a
let me answer.
bylaw.
That's why we're here to pass it now.
You're doing
So
it now, after the
doing it
fact.
now.
You're
And
also supposed to hold a public
Would you let me answer the question,
consultation.
please? You're being rude. And you're the one who endangered our children by filing this motion, asking the court to reverse this in 24 hours. This terrible, putting the children at risk, and the judge ruled that that would be putting the children at risk.
Actually,
We're
the
trying
judge
to help
ruled
you.
did not-
I've asked you all, this is happening. We have all kinds of positive comments from a lot of people. We have some complaints by a few people on Argyle. We like to make everybody happy. I like to make everybody happy, but this is the right thing to do. You gave me a quote to this interview, well, whatever, we'll look at it.
Whatever.
I can't comment on it now because it's before the courts. So I don't know what else to say. We're
No
passing
longer
this
before the
motion.
courts.
It
The
is-
court,
it is.
it's
There
done.
is a court motion
No,
still, as I
actually, it's
understand
been
it. That's
withdrawn,
what I
it's done. And you should
Anyway,
educate yourself on what a
thank you.
safeguard
Thank
order
you.
is.
Thank you.
And for the record, the judge never said that this was endangering the children.
Yes, he did.
Actually, he
Yes,
didn't, and
he
I
did.
was there, and I think that you need to have your ears checked.
Anyway, I'm not going to get into an argument with you. Thank you very much for your question. Next.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mayor and Council. Separate subject, but on the same idea of school safety. I didn't bring it up in the past because I thought, well, in goodwill, maybe it's already going to be enacted. Coming here, I come from the south, I cross Sherbrooke Street.
Okay.
Either at Kensington or at Redfern. There are no crosswalks at either of those intersections, nor safety crossing lights for pedestrians. It was something I brought up when I was a councillor. I had them put in
Crosswalks where? You said?
on the corner of Sherbrooke and Kensington and Sherbrooke and Redfern. You have to cross either at Metcalfe or at Clark. That's a long distance with two lights in between, and both of those lights are in front of the schools. So that's where the kids are crossing.
That's a good suggestion. I'll ask the
So
TAC.
I would
the
ask
meeting
that
to
you
look at that.
please, install both crosswalks and crossing lights.
So
Thank you.
Sherbrooke and Kensington,
Thank-
and Sherbrooke and Redfern.
All the children from Selwyn House cross at the Redfern one, and many from Akiva cross at the
Thank you.
Kensington. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Warren
Hi.
Katz from Redfern. Just a correction to a few things you said, and then I'll get to my question. So the judge said it would cause confusion, and that could be dangerous. The judge did say that.
Okay.
He did not say he did not approve of your plan for Argyle. Okay, he made no
that's
statement
still
on
a
that. He
court
didn't look
case.
at it. Let me finish
Correct.
now. I'm speaking. So he also said that, and your council that we're all paying for showed up and conceded, yes, we needed a bylaw. We breached the law. Okay, so your lawyer said that in court.
we're doing the bylaw.
judge
Thank
says-
you.
Yeah, I know. After the fact, we had to take you to court. June, we told you. July, we told you. August, we told you. Why did you have to put up a fight? Why didn't you ask a lawyer and get it done? I told you at the meeting, 726.3, plain English, you need to pass it. You look at us, I'll look at it. That's it.
You're being rude. Thank you for your
No,
comment.
I'm not done.
Thank you.
So my question is, and my point is to Councillor Chomsky. I want to ask you about something you said when you were asking residents for their votes. During the election, you were specifically asked what about changes to Westmount streets. You said, quote, prioritize safe, well-maintained roads and modernized infrastructure, but ensure consultation before changing parking or traffic flow. You also made a very simple promise to residents. I will listen, I will respond, and I will always be accountable to you. And after the election, you said that one of the concerns you heard repeatedly during your election campaign was, quote, a growing sense that City Council wasn't truly hearing residents. Those were your words. Argyle involves exactly what you spoke about during your campaign, a major change to traffic flow and parking. Yet residents were not consulted before the decision was made, and when residents subsequently came forward with concerns, alternatives, and questions about the city's evidence, many of us have felt dismissed rather than heard. And in fact, when I came to the first meeting, you actually came up to me and said, hey, what are you doing here? And I said, well, Sophie lives on Argyle. Oh, you said, oh no, that ship sailed, that's done. That's a quote of what you said to me. Before you even heard a thing, it's done. So, Councillor Chomsky, how do you reconcile your conduct throughout the Argyle process with your campaign promise to, quote, ensure consultation before changing parking or traffic flow, and your promise to listen, respond, and be accountable to residents. How do you reconcile all of that?
Thank you for your question. The question comes to the mayor. Councillor Chomsky, do you want to answer the question?
Sure. The answer to your question is very simple. This project involves the safety of over 3,000 students, young people who attend our schools. And as such, the city reserves the right and will continue to reserve the right to act in the best interest of the safety of our pedestrians.
Have
our
you read the
cyclists.
Intervia studies? Because they don't actually say that it's safe. They actually point out a lot of issues that we keep raising and you keep
understand.
ignoring. And you have yet to answer any single criticism. So all you hide behind is safety of the children, but you don't answer any of the issues that we've raised in the discussions. And you refuse to engage in a discussion through a real consultation. June 10th, you decided to have to be behind a screen, not taking any questions up from the floor. You and Councillor Chamy did an amazing job. One-way discussion, refused to have a two-way dialogue. That's what you talked about. Read your own words. And good luck on the next election.
So we have received, okay, thank you. We have received numerous comments from people thanking us for the safe school. People stop me in the street, don't even know me. I don't know them, but they know me, and they thanked us, including somebody on your street. At the end of the day, you're all saying the same thing, and you're not saying what bothers you. It seems the only thing, I listened to you. I'm told it's working very well by the schools. We will read it. I've read it, but I will look at it again. Yes, I have. Anyway, next question.
Hi, I'm Rafael Cortez. I live on Kensington.
Hi.
You mentioned that you're going to adapt as things come out.
Yes.
We can't pull out of our driveway when there's pickup. You have parking on both sides of the street now.
Yeah.
And when we come out of our building on 400 Kensington, there's nowhere, you can't turn. So if there's a car parked to the south of the driveway, there's not enough leeway to actually make a turn. So you basically have to do like a 12-point turn to sort of get around.
From where? From what address is it?
400 Kensington. So there's
The
a
apartment
driveway
building? Yeah.
on 400 Kensington in between.
Okay. We'll look at that. We'll look into that. We'll look into that.
And then also, I don't know if you have looked, when you have parking on both sides of the street,
Yes.
and if they're not parked exactly against the lines, no way a fire truck gets down. There's
Okay.
no chance a
We will
fire
look
truck
into-
gets down.
Don't forget what we had said is that we're going to be monitoring public security.
I'm just telling you, I watched a
No,
fire
I
truck go down
appreciate that.
today. If there's a snowbank with the 4.5-foot pathway that you have against the lawn bowling, fire trucks cannot get, or an ambulance can't get down that street. And if you're
So
talking about safety.
Both public security, I've spoken to the head of public security, I've spoken to the head of the police, and
You're
they're watching
you're talking
this.
about the
No, but-
safety, but if there's a fire,
Yeah, so I
they're not
appreciate
gonna be,
that.
they're
We'll-
gonna get stuck.
We will look into that. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Mayor,
Hi.
council members. I will try to keep this short. We're talking about safety here. The Interferia study says that the one-way thing on Argyle will facilitate speed. And I will share my experience with you this week. I have a bunch of kids, so I do a lot of drop-offs. I was on Thornhill. People were speeding on Thornhill. I was stopping. Thank God I know how to drive. People are speeding down on Argyle. No stop sign. People are on their phone. They're speeding down. That was my first experience. I was on Metcalfe last week on Thursday with a bunch of other people behind me driving up. The garbage truck went in their reefers down there, telling us to go on the sides. There's both sides parking, and there's no way to go. I just don't understand how you think this is safe. It is dangerous. It is scary. I had someone driving the other way around on Côte Saint-Antoine because of all your road closures. And you keep saying that people are happy with this. I'm a Selwyn House mom. I volunteer a lot. I speak to people every day. They are not happy.
Well, the administration told me they are.
I taped it. I told your son actually last Friday because I took it on tape. There was a fight last week during pickup in front of children because people couldn't come down on Argyle, they couldn't come up from Sherbrooke, and there was this psychotic person on his klaxon just putting everybody in danger. I just think you do not understand where all the other
Yeah,
traffic
we
is
understand.
going. It's
So-
dangerous.
So, first of all, I asked you all, and I continue to ask for your help in monitoring this as this goes along.
I saw
The
I
schools
saw-
have told me that they're very happy.
You
I
know
spoke
why
to
they're
Mike
happy?
Downey
And I'm a
this
Selwyn House
morning.
mom. You know why they're happy?
Going
It's the
very
first
well.
time they actually blocked off the front. Of course, it's going to be better than the years before because they blocked a little piece. And I saw you this morning, Councilman Shami, because I leave my house earlier. I don't mind to do that, but it is dangerous. And I don't think... Because now they're putting something up, so it's a little bit safer, but it is scary, and I don't think it will help. That's the first time they did that. It's not the one way, it's
you.
the first time they did that. So I do urge you, I have 4 kids myself, 2 of them Selwyn House students. I am terrified to let them walk right now because people are not paying attention. They're speeding down right now. There are like no speed bumps.
Mr. Lapointe's taking notes. We're going to follow it up. We have
I
public
think you're
security
making a
on the
huge
case.
mistake. You are.
Pardon?
You're making a huge mistake turning it in a one way. And it's actually not about like
There's a
driving
lot less
longer.
cars. It's much safer going one way.
You have
Anyway,
no
I won't-
idea. There were no winter
Hey,
studies.
thank
You have
you for
no
your
idea how
comments.
scary it is.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Costin.
Yes,
I live on Argyle.
yes.
I'm sorry to be here for like a 4th time. Listen, I hope the greffier is taking notes on people's questions and, I don't know, is there?
Yes, well,
Okay, there isn't? Okay. As we had stated on August 4th, after studying this project in depth, we don't see the objective evidence that proves that this is the best, safest configuration for Argyle. We are here today to tell you on record, like, please pause this and get a proper, honest record done before you expose the city to any potential legal liability.
what is that your question that we should pause
If an
it?
accident happens, you know, you will have been told clearly and formally and on the public record that there were safety gaps left unclosed on your project. You know, I've read your brand new code of ethics that you proudly signed in April. How do you sit here today and reconcile your actions with the explicit legal requirements of integrity, transparency, vigilance,
Is
and
that your
discernment
question? I will answer.
that you codified?
Okay. What is your question? Is that your question?
No, I'm not finished. The draft bylaw states that you are relying on expert advice.
Yes.
Yes, the safety metrics driving this decision were not generated by an independent engineering firm. Intervia was only hired to track basic traffic volumes. The safety scores were actually generated by part of a PhD thesis designed by a researcher who then co-founded Safe Mobility. The research scoring was based on entirely a different design, not the layout before you today that you've actually implemented.
Can you ask your question, please?
The configuration you announced in July is completely different. It omits the critical traffic calming chicanes, and it authorizes year-round parking on the hill that starts at a punishing 10+ degree grade. So I guess what I want to ask you is, you've been formally told by Superior Judge that your administration failed to act under the law. How do you reconcile this process with your code of ethics? It's not, that's not my last question. Or do you,
Well, let me answer the question.
Okay.
So first of all, on the whole issue with the case, it's still before the court. As I understand it, I told by my lawyer, I was told by our lawyer, it's not resolved. The interlocutory
resolved.
judgment was resolved yesterday. We're told not. So, and we've discussed this many times. There's 2 ways to look at it. In terms, you said the experts aren't right. How would it be, and I said this when I made my decision, it was weighed on me heavily, we have in-house people who are expert at this. We went to outside sources. The conclusion is one way is safer.
No,
You're
no.
saying something
What
differently.
you're saying is
So,
wrong right
no,
there.
what I'm saying is this is what we were told is safer. It makes logical sense. The kids crossing the street
No,
know
no,
they
no,
can
no,
look
no.
one
Okay.
way. And the first evidence for the first 2 weeks, we have many more comments for each one of you. We have 20 positive comments saying this is great and it's working much better. So
Okay, you
there's
got
2 ways
that
of
from-
looking at it. And
from
it
the
would be
people from the
wrong,
SHAR.
what I said when I made the decision, would be that it would be wrong for me or any elected official to take the experts, whether you say they're not experts, but
I
we
didn't
have
say they
an
weren't
advice.
experts. That's not what I said. I said that's not what the experts
It would
determined.
be wrong to say, let's pause this for a year. We can't pause it for 3 months. It's pausing it for a year, basically, because
Yeah.
in winter, you can't put things down. If the experts say this is safer, that's
They
what we
didn't.
did. And
That's-
this is, it said it was safer, and that's what our conclusion.
So your expert
So
who said it was safer only analyzed, first of all, they said the segment of Argyle was
I really have nothing
safe.
else to add. I hear you. I have nothing else to add.
Okay.
And I
You
mean,
don't wanna add,
if
but
you're
I'm
so
telling
If
you-
you're so concerned about safety, how could you take part in requesting this be reversed in 24 hours? knowing
Okay,
you put
okay,
people
yeah,
at
okay.
risk? Okay.
So I think.
I have nothing. Let
I think
somebody
you've
else ask.
shown
You've
me,
already
oh, no,
been-
but I think
you're
you've shown
making
me that you
speeches.
don't, no, I know, but I guess what you're showing me, Mayor, is that you actually don't know this project. Your citizens took you to court, and it's actually sad to me
So you.
that you're not actually taking this seriously.
I am taking it
shows.
seriously.
No,
We're
you're
doing
not.
this-
You're,
Look, you have your opinion, thank you. As to the question of the bylaw, I told you that it was internal opinion by our lawyers that no bylaw was necessary. It turns out that maybe it is, so we're passing the bylaw to be on
but
the
what
safe
else
side.
turns out that wasn't maybe the best decision made?
So you'll help us figure it out.
I told you
Thank
that, but no one's ever contacted me and helping me. Actually, I
We're-
went to see
it's
you
in
yesterday and you
place.
didn't want to
Let's
see me.
Help us observe and see, come
Okay,
back
so
to us
then,
recommendations.
so then just speaking about the Argyle situation, if you could, because I know you're
No, I
dead
can't
set
talk
on this.
about it anymore. You've been.
No. I just want to ask you if you can separate Argyle from the other streets while you do the winter study on the slope. And actually
We
the
decided
seg,
not to do that, but thank you.
but have you considered it? And
Yes,
why
we
did you
considered it.
decide it
I'm
wasn't a
not
good
going through
idea?
that now. We can't go through that now.
You can't answer?
No. We decided it was safer for all three based on the same
But
study,
you know
and
that.
we did it.
Okay, but listen, you understand that we've shown you. There's a huge, everybody has been pounding at the door saying.
haven't shown
You
us.
haven't closed, you haven't read anything, Mr. Mayor.
I've read all of it, trust me.
You
Thank
have?
you. Let somebody else ask a question. I
Okay,
hear you,
anyways,
and thank you.
please separate
Thank you.
Argyle with
Thank
the other
you.
streets if you can, please.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and District Councilors. I have a few questions today. I want to address you first, Mr. Mayor. Is Bylaw 1671 being introduced today because the city's legal counsel acknowledged in court that the original conversion of Argyle Avenue was executed without legal authority?
No.
It wasn't?
You're trying to paint it that some criminal activity happened here. I explained to you, listen, I will repeat it one more time. Our lawyers in-house took the opinion that it's not necessary. I met with 14 mayors last week who didn't even know that you need a bylaw. It turns out.
I'm talking about the court case that
let
I
me
attended.
answer. And it turns out, on the advice of counsel, our outside counsel said we should pass it by bylaw, although we pass it by resolution. So we're passing it by bylaw. There's
Sir,
no crime
that's not what I'm
here.
asking you about. I'm not talking about your
Asking.
inside lawyers. I'm talking about the court case that happened last week where I attended and other residents
That
of
was an
Argyle
injunction
attended.
type
I'm
proceeding.
asking you if in court the original conversion of Argyle Avenue was executed without legal authority. That's what I'm asking you.
No,
It was executed with legal authority?
yes. Anyway, I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
a lawyer, I'm not answering any for,
All
that's all I
right.
have to say. What
Does,
else?
do you, the mayor, agree that implementing physical road can get physical road changes prior to passing a required bylaw sets a precedent that municipal regulations are optional for the
I answered that
administration?
already. Thank you. I've answered that already.
It's a
Yes,
different
I did.
question.
What else?
All right, so the preamble of Bylaw 1671 claims that this one-way conversion is designed to, quote, improve safe and active school routes, end quote. However, peer-reviewed Canadian studies, including Wazana et al. And Rothman et al., show that pedestrian collision rates are significantly higher on one-way streets than two-way streets near schools. So I'd like to ask you and council and the city's traffic consultants if you guys reviewed that published
Yes.
Canadian
So-
public health.
So you're looking at a
material.
study, and that's
Yeah.
a Canadian study, but you can't
Around
take a
schools.
generalized study and say that's always the case.
It wasn't
Every
generalized. It was
situation,
around high schools and
They didn't
elementary
come
schools.
analyze these particular three streets. We had our own people analyze it and came to that conclusion.
Okay.
Based it on that. Thank you.
Last thing, I want to base something off of a previous resident statement with your answer, Jonathan Chomsky. You said that one of your campaign promises is that you were going to listen and that you were going to be transparent. I believe you said the same thing, Mr. Mayor. And so I'd just like to ask you, why is there no possibility of re-reviewing everybody? I mean, re-reviewing Argyle, separating it from Kensington Metcalfe and the rest of the project while we continue to investigate, because the court literally said that what you guys are doing is illegal, and now you guys are retroactively trying to legalize an illegal decision. So I don't understand that. Please explain why you guys are trying to legalize an illegal decision.
I won't answer that rude the way you're asking it, but I will explain to you the following. You first said, I lost my train of thought now. I think, why don't we separate Argyle? We looked at that, and we concluded, again, the same rationale. If our experts and our internal people, our 4 smart people working here, senior people who know what they're doing, came to the conclusion this is safer, it would be wrong for any elected official to say, you know what, we should discard it. Let's put it on pause, because if it was dangerous, like they believe, then delaying it is only causing more danger. So we said we're going to do it, but we're doing it in a way not to carve up the street, not to cause any permanent change, and anything could be tweaked, could be changed, could even be reversed later. That's why. And to point to, you keep talking about legal, illegal, there's no crime here. Our internal lawyers believed that a bylaw was not necessary. In fact, 14 other mayors didn't know differently either. It turns out that a bylaw is necessary, so we're passing a bylaw, and everything will be fine. And I ask everybody on Argyle to help us monitor it. We've received so many positive comments. You know, from all the comments here, I'm shocked that nobody came to thank us for all the road work we're doing to make things safer.
It's not safer, though.
Côte Saint Antoine is a beautiful brand new street. I got an email from somebody thanking me profusely that he's been asking for the longest time to fix Côte Saint Antoine. His 15-year-old kid suffered a concussion on the terrible potholes, and he thanked us for doing that.
All right,
So
I'm just going to end
that's what
here.
you
I
should
appreciate,
think
again,
about it.
Councillor Aronson and Councillor Moss for continuing to show engagement and due diligence, civic engagement, and due process. And I really hope that you as mayor and you others like Councillor Chomsky, which you promised to do, start acting transparently
We are
and with
acting
due process
transparently.
to not make Westmount, the beautiful city, look like the clown down south. Thank you.
What? Look like what?
The clown down south.
Okay.
Well, now you know.
Yes, Mr. Breslau.
John Breslau, Grosvenor Avenue. My question actually is not on Argyle, but I will come to it in my question in a second. It's not, you know, you're obviously in an uncomfortable position, and it's not being right that's important, it's appearing to be right that's important, as we both know. May I respectfully, since there is a reasonable question on the degree of safety, given the studies, etc., why don't we do something really straightforward? And that is, question, would you be prepared to, over the next year, make the studies, collect the details to go and ascertain that these one-way streets are indeed safer, with the commitment that if indeed they are not safer, that we will then reconsider the matter. I think that might be a reasonable thing to do and a nice thing to do for the community. What do you think? 1 year, we will take a study, we'll make sure
You're
that
talking about doing an additional study?
no, just keep the records,
Yes.
accidents, etc., and then
Yes.
at the end of the year, put a
Yes.
small report out.
I've asked the administration to monitor this carefully. As I said, we've spoken to the police chief, the head of public security, and I have, and the administration has too, to please monitor this and give us comments. We've gone to the schools to ask them to monitor us, and if we can tweak things, make things better, if it has to be reversed even, like, we'll do what's necessary. The whole focus for us is safety for the children.
And the whole
So
focus of this community is exactly
Yeah.
the same.
So we're
Fine.
trying to do
Let's-
best
let's-
for Westmount
let's leave it.
residents.
Let's leave it that in a year's time, we will have a report coming out that actually ascertains whether this is an improvement or not, with the obvious consent that if it isn't an improvement, then
That
we
sounds
will.
reasonable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let me come to my question. 1668
Yes.
raises a really interesting question and it's one that has actually been taught. Could you, first part of my question, explain what components represent the infrastructure or special equipment that is considered in this particular bylaw?
So it's anything related to a water supply, pipes, and road work. So road work includes sidewalks. There may be other things in there. It's a specific law.
Let me
that
go,
allows us-
that was exactly my question. Obviously, roadworks makes sense, water supply makes sense, presumably sewage capacity makes sense.
Yes,
Presumably electricity supply makes sense.
yes.
All of those is totally reasonable, and the developer who gains from this should clearly be, and obviously the percentage is up for discussion, we'll come to that later. Can I suggest that we do a little bit better than the Ville de Montréal, and also talk about the developer being responsible for the additional schooling and healthcare facilities that degree of urbanization in the southeast sector is going to require. It's something that we're good at. It's something that a developer who is concerned not just for the bottom line, but to make a development that is really a valid contribution to the city,
So let me
will be
understand
happy
that.
to do.
So I didn't understand that. So the bylaw, proposed bylaws to request or demand, whatever, that anyone who gets a permit to build has to pay so much per door, let's say, towards infrastructure costs. And by the way, we have to spend it on the infrastructure. If not, we have to give back part of the money.
No,
But
no,
you're
you
saying in addition, we should ask them to,
Pay for additional green space, if any, additional schools, if any, additional healthcare, if any. When we build a small project, the taxpayers absorb it, and that's kind of okay.
So I don't know if that's the law, but what I do know, from what I know, the law was passed before me, the zoning, and that is that a number of the buildings are allowed to be built at 20 stories. If they build more, if they request to build more, we can allow them and ask them to pay for additional things like green spaces. So I don't have more details
The
than
concept is 20 stories for Westmount is quite high.
that. Yes,
And it's not just going to be one tower, it's going to be more than one
yes.
tower. In that context, where you have a step increase in the population that we're serving, it is not entirely fair that all of Westmount taxpayers should absorb that when we absorb the cost and the developer absorbs the benefit. I very much have in mind here the idea of the children's project, where a school was promised and never happened type thing. We can do better. We should do better. And as a council, I think requiring that of developers, n'importe whether it's 20 stories or 15
Can I
stories.
ask you to send me a short email or a memo on that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'd
thank
be
you.
cle-
I'll look
I'd be
at that.
happy to.
Thank you.
Matt?
Yes.
Just a little bit of precision on the question, just to make sure we're all on the same page. So in order, the specific things that you have enumerated, Mr. Breslau, in terms of the cost to the community are absolutely true. And were we able to impose developer charges to offset costs for all of these community, the influx of people into the community, I'm sure we would certainly consider it. Unfortunately, the province has set a very specific list of what we are allowed to charge developers for. I had asked the exact same question that you did, and we are informed that the province limits it to water supply systems, to wastewater and stormwater systems, and to road infrastructure, all of which are extremely expensive. Unfortunately, things like hydroelectric power supply, parks and green spaces, even additional costs towards schooling and other social services are excluded from that list. And so we aren't actually permitted by law to impose a developer charge in the same manner that we can with the items that are enumerated on the list that has been greenlit by the government.
Matt, you've been a
I
lawyer
think
too
you're right.
long. You've been a lawyer too long. Take for example that we actually didn't have enough electricity to deal with that. To come to the developer and say, look, our plans for electricity span for the
you know
next
what?
25 years. And
Mr. Breslau, we don't have.
we can do it,
Mr.
we can do it a
Breslau.
lot faster, but we'll need your contribution. There is a discussion between developers and council, and that discussion is done in good faith with the understanding that the project has to be good, not just for the developer, but for the community.
Absolutely. Mr. Breslau, I suggest send this in because it's very technical and complex. Send in your comments. It could be short, one page. I promise you we'll look at it and get back to you.
That would be
Thank you.
excellent. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Mayor.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Maire.
Oui.
Anne-Marie Turcotte, Argyle. First of all, thank you for Côte Saint-Antoine. Indeed, kudos to you
Welcome.
and your team. Quick question, on what basis did you remove the you removed the one-way from Montrose to Thornhill and the chicanes that were planned?
Montrose to Thornhill.
Yes. On what
So
basis?
in the end, we looked at it again, in part because of people's comments and said, you know what? The concern is really the block where the school is. So we made that one way and we left the other part two-way. That was the conclusion. I don't have them in front of me. Thank you.
I just wanted to add, because you keep saying that a lot of people are.
You know what?
I just
you
wanna
already asked your question. I think you have to
say,
wait
yeah.
for the second question period. We have to move on.
Just a follow-up.
No, thank you.
That
You've
I've
already asked many
canvassed the
questions.
street
Thank you.
and
So let's go
spoken to
on.
36
Adoption
residents.
of the agenda. I call upon Councillor Shami, please.
And I also have 110 signatures on the petition.
Down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Send them in if you like.
I propose that the agenda of the special council sitting of September 1st, 2026 be adopted.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Chomsky, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Item number 4, notice of motion and tabling of draft bylaw 1671 to implement one-way traffic to improve safe and active school routes in Westmount City Hall area. I call upon Councillor Aronson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, as I think everybody in the room and watching today is well aware, we're here today to give notice of motion of the intention to submit to a future council meeting bylaw number 1671, which is entitled "A Bylaw to Implement One-Way Traffic to Improve Safe and Active School Routes in Westmount City Hall Area" for adoption. So we're going to now table this draft bylaw, which is to say that it's now available for the public to review and to comment on. In lieu of a formal public consultation, if you have any comments or concerns with respect to the proposal of this bylaw, I encourage you please to write to your councillors or to the Director General and the Clerk's office. All of our contact information is available on our website, because the purpose of this bylaw is to, well, obviously the direct purpose is to modify the direction of traffic in certain streets in order to promote safer travel in the area around City Hall. Now, that's the objective. But the document that is now available for public consultation can be altered or amended between now and the time that it comes before this council for a vote. And so if the public has concerns or questions, and we are able to adjust the wording of this language to meet them, that is theoretically possible to be done between now and the next time we see this on the agenda, which I imagine will be relatively quick, as we had represented before, or the City Council had represented before the courts, that this would be taken up for a vote before September the 9th, which is our next scheduled, regularly scheduled council meeting. I think before I yield here, as I'm not sure we'll have a chance to talk about this again publicly before the vote, it's important to note that we're bringing forward this bylaw now because we are obligated to do so by law. We were always obligated to do so by law. And it's a really important feature of any leadership at any level not only to adhere to the regulations and the laws that govern the elected officials here and all of our governments throughout Canada, but also to be able to say, even if it means that we have to go back and redo something, that it's important to get it done right. And if that means saying, we made a mistake, we were given information that was not complete or accurate, we made a judgment call on the basis of it, and as it turns out, there's something more required. We're going to take the time and make the effort to make it right. Because that's the most important thing here at the end of the day, is that we don't just make decisions, we don't just do things, but we do them correctly, legally, ethically, with transparency and accountability. So although it would be easier, but certainly more politically convenient, to simply ignore the obligation to pass a bylaw of this kind, we're going to come before you, the public, with a draft bylaw to make right legally what has already been implemented physically. The proposal on the table is the one that we will likely be voting on. I encourage you to stay involved, to give your commentary, and to remember that this bylaw is not actually passed and the situation is not regulated until such time as this council brings it back and passes the text either in its form, the format it's in now, or as amended after hearing from the residents. And that's the appropriate time for us to have a discussion and debate on this topic.
Councillor, so
Thank you,
it's so you're tabling the motion. Let's continue.
Yes, sir. I've tabled the draft bylaw, at least
Okay.
figuratively.
So we go on to
It's
item number
available on the
5.
public, on the website to be viewed by the public.
Thank you. Item number 5, which is a notice of motion for bylaw 1668 concerning the imposition of a contribution to finance all or part of the expenses related to the addition, extension, or alteration of municipal infrastructure or equipment in the Southeast Special Planning Program area of the city of Westmount. I call upon Councillor Aronson.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. And with the apologies, because I've already spoken so much in this meeting, but this one it's a bit longer. It's a very important bylaw that we're passing, and it's going to have a huge impact on the future of the southeast sector of Westmount. So I'm giving notice of the intention to submit to a future council meeting, bylaw 1668, which is entitled, as the mayor said, the bylaw concerning the imposition of a contribution to finance all or part of the expenses related to the addition, extension, or alteration of municipal infrastructure or equipment in the Southeast Special Planning Program area of the city of Westmount. Now, simply put, the objective of this bylaw, as it's indicated in its title, is to impose a contribution intended to finance all or part of the costs associated with building additional or repairing and bringing up to current standards municipal infrastructure and facilities such as water supply and sewage, road work, and well, that's it. Water supply, sewage, and road work, including rainwater systems. As the projects in the southeast sector come in and are reviewed for approval, we're going to ask the developers who wish to bring forward these projects to make contributions in order to offset the costs to the community as a whole for bringing in this new infrastructure. So the nature and the scope of this bylaw, it seeks to make the issuance of certain building permits and other certificates related to the creation of new housing units conditional on the payment of a monetary contribution intended to, as we've previously said, finance in whole or part the expenditures related to making additions, expansions, or modifications of municipal infrastructure and facilities that are in turn required to ensure the increased provision of municipal services resulting from the development of the area covered by what we call the PPU, or the Special Planning Program, the SPP, in the southeast sector of the city of Westmount. So the amount of the contribution that each developer will have to pay for each new housing unit that they create or propose to create is going to correspond to a proportion of the estimated cost of the planning, or of the planned municipal works that will need to be done. And this contribution is going to be paid into a dedicated fund that's established in accordance with law, specifically the Act respecting land use planning and development, at section 145.22. And now the territory that is subject to this bylaw is not the whole city of Westmount. It's specifically if you're developing new housing units that are going to be in the boundaries of the PPU incorporated into Westmount's planning program bylaw number 1638. So if you need to see what a map of what that looks like, if you go to our website and look up 1368, or if you consult the Engage Westmount website, I believe the original proposals and visuals are still there to be viewed. And the circumstances of these applications are as follows. The obligation to pay this contribution is going to apply upon the issuance of a building permit or another certificate related to the creation of new housing units for a development project that results in increased demand for municipal services within the territory of this subject bylaw, as I just said, that the Southeast Sector's PPU area, in accordance with the terms and the exemptions, calculation criteria, and other conditions set out in the bylaw. I should note, although it's not in the text here, that there is certain kinds of housing that is exempt from these developer charges. So for example, if you were to propose to build student housing, intergenerational housing, housing that is covered by an arrangement with the province to be affordable and attainable in a socialized fashion, those types of housing builds are exempt from these charges. So if our developer friends would like to save a little bit of money, they can begin by looking at Article 7 of the proposed bylaw and picking different forms of socially progressive housing as part of their planning program. Now, normally at this point, we would say that a copy of this draft bylaw is available for review. This is an unusual circumstance in that we are giving notice of motion today, but the final version of the draft bylaw is actually going to be tabled at a future council meeting. It's not ready for, it's not available for us at this moment. What this will mean is that though notice of motion is given today, we will come back again to table the draft bylaw, and then it cannot be passed until a third subsequent council meeting. So we'll have it for you to review and consult. Obviously, we'll take comments and questions. And then at yet another council meeting after that, it will actually come to a vote for the council to either approve or if it doesn't carry a majority, then to be turned down.
Thank you, Councillor Aronson. That's it. Thank you.
That's all I've got for you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
So the second one is tabled. We go to item number 6, second question period. Yes.
When you're ready. When you're ready.
Pardon?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Just making sure you're concentrating.
Yes.
That was instructive, but there was, as they say, the devil is in the details. And the detail, the obvious detail, is a certain percentage.
So we don't have that now. And
And
we'll get
tell,
back to
tell me what your thinking is on that.
I don't want to get into it now. We're looking at it. We've had some discussions. We're looking at it. It should be an amount that's significant and at the same time not render it too onerous for a developer that they won't go ahead with the project. So we got to be competitive. We're searching the market. We're getting experts involved. We already probably have it. Head of urban planning is here. He's been working on it. And I know one of our advisors was out of town on vacation last week, so they hope to final it in the next few days. Thank you.
Okay.
I
So
can't go into further
I
detail.
take it that when this comes up for discussion and that percentage is incorporated, that
Yes.
you will be able to explain to the citizens what percentage of the
Yes.
actual costs that this percentage will cover.
Correct.
Lovely. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much indeed.
Hi.
Hi.
Just for clarification, you were talking about housing units, but my understanding, the ground floors potentially of these buildings could be commercial
Yes.
fees for that would also be included, yes?
Yes, but
Should be.
should be. But I think they're looking at housing units,
the
number of
easiest
doors.
way-
That's just generally accepted as far as I understand, but
Right,
I asked
but
that
in new
question too.
developments, they have included the commercial as well.
Yes.
In order to monetize as much
It's
as
a
possible.
good point. I made
so
note of it.
I would look at that.
Thank you.
And you also today have commercial condos.
Yes.
Where offices and stores are actually under
Yes.
condos.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. So there's a fundamental issue with the decision to move forward with the Argyle project. The Intervia study recommends a certain configuration for safety. And you've said that you made a change based on certain comments.
Yeah.
So that's one change that you took out of block. So I'm curious to hear about those comments.
I don't have
The
them in
second
front
one
of me.
is,
Yes.
sorry, I'll come back to it. The second one relates to the chicane, so that changed the configuration. So now Argyle is a straight highway. I don't know if anyone has been there, but it's a highway. And then in the winter, you now have parking on both sides, and there's no bailout. So like you're going down full speed, and you could slide into anyone. There's cars on both sides, which
There were
normally you
reasons
couldn't.
that the chicane was removed. I don't remember why. It was a
But who was it
deliberate
removed
decision.
by?
Not by God. Somebody here made a decision to do that for a reason. I don't
And
have
who
that
removed
reason in front of me.
Montrose
But
to
we
Thornhill?
know-
Who removed Montrose to Thornhill?
We know, same idea. We went through it after
come
getting
back to that.
people's comments. We'll get back to it. And we made a decision, the administration made a recommendation based on certain information, which I don't have available right now, but it was done properly. And the speed, we know, we were told about many times by many people, the speed has to be watched, especially in winter, and our public security are on it, and we believe it.
So I'm struggling with your comments earlier that the administration can't overrule the study that was done by your experts in-house, but yet you did overrule with chicanes to take those out. And so I'm trying to understand that you're not overruling, but you are overruling.
Because this case is in court, I really don't. I'm
There's no,
comfortable
it's
going to-
withdrawn, it's withdrawn, it's
not-
gone.
Not to
It
my
is
knowledge.
withdrawn.
I can't answer any more
I'm telling
questions.
you it's withdrawn.
Thank you, but I have nothing further to add at this point.
But sorry, the case only relates to the legality of the bylaw. It doesn't have to do with the safety. So you can't bail out on that basis, okay? Once it's only in the legality of putting it in place before there's a bylaw. So don't use that excuse to not answer.
Don't
So
talk to me that
I'd
way,
like to
please.
come back to the second question, which is on the Montrose Thornhill, which we
Yeah.
can't get any clarity to understand
We will
why
get
that block was
information.
removed.
We will get you that information.
You
I
will?
don't have it here. Yeah,
Before it's adopted?
yeah, should be able to, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. I just want to say that I really feel that you're missing the point.
I know you
here.
keep telling me that. Look,
I know,
I
and
can't take any
just
more of your
can't-
questions. Listen to me.
it's not a
Listen, no,
question.
listen to me.
Yeah.
None of us are here to get votes. We don't care about votes. I'm telling you that. We're doing what's right for people. You come back 20 times with the same story, that everything's flawed. We have hundreds of comments of people who love it. The only thing I can see that bothers you is that you have to drive 1 minute around.
Okay.
So, like, I'm not going to take any more of your questions.
Okay.
We did what we think is right for the people of Westmount, not necessarily you. It's for the people of Westmount. It's for the safety of the children. This is what we're told. You can tell me things 25 different times
I know.
and 25 different ways. What
It's
we decided to do,
mind-boggling.
we're doing it. We're not going back. We're doing it, but we will monitor it
I've heard
carefully. This
the
is the best
spiel.
decision that
I've
we
heard
know
it. I've
for the
heard it.
safety for the children.
heard it.
And you should be ashamed to have try to bring an injunction
yes.
to have this reversed in
Yes.
24 hours,
Yes.
which would have put our kids in safety.
Yes,
I'm not
I am
answering any
the
more of
I
your
am
questions.
the person that is
I'm not answering
endangering
any more
Argyle.
questions.
Okay,
Thank
it's not
you.
a question.
No,
I just
I'm
want
not
to tell
answering anything
you.
you have to say. No.
I just
No.
want to tell you, first of all, this isn't about me being inconvenienced. And if you read any of the letters that I've
Read all
sent
the
your
letters.
office, then
Yeah.
then why don't you understand what I'm
I
saying?
understand a lot of
It's
things.
not about inconvenience. It is about safety.
So we have,
And again,
so you're
like
not
I've
an expert on
repeated,
safety.
I
We have
no,
safety experts.
stop
You know what? I can't
interrupting
answer
me,
anymore.
please. I have driven down the street in winter, and I
driven
have
down, I go there every
slid,
day, and
and
it's fine.
I have slid down the street. Okay, I go slow.
It's a
I
hill.
go slow.
We make
It's a
sure
hill.
we
You have to
salt
go
early.
very
It's
slow.
a hill. You have to
Yes.
be careful.
I'm just telling you my lived experience, as opposed to trying to shut
understand.
me out.
But it's
try
much
to show
safe-
some compassion to
I
what I'm
have
saying.
compassion, but
I
you
am
tell
a
me same-
resident, and I'm telling you about my lived experience.
I appreciate
No,
that.
you're
It's
dismissing it.
You don't have
You're
people
dismissing
hunt for
it.
everyone.
Just listen to me. You're
No, I
supposed to
can't
be on
listen
my
to you.
side. I'm
Okay,
not
you know
trying
what?
to be against you here. I just want you to listen to me.
Please, I don't wanna
Listen,
answer any
please.
questions. I have another
I
meeting.
have
No,
slid
no.
down the hill,
I understand.
going
Drive
slow.
slower. I don't
I
know what to
drive
tell you.
slow. I have young children. I drive
It's
slow.
enough. I don't want to hear
I
anymore.
changed my car because I thought maybe if I got a better car, that
Okay.
I wouldn't slide down the hill.
Okay.
So I changed
I
my
don't know what
car,
else to tell you.
and I
There
still
are hundreds
slid,
and
and I
hundreds of
bumped.
people telling me the opposite.
No,
It's
there
much
aren't.
safer
You're-
not having two cars
Hundreds
not going
and
on the side.
hundreds of
Yes.
people? Is that a
Yeah.
lie?
No, you so
Is
no
that a
U-turns.
lie?
No, you're
Hundreds
calling
and
me
hundreds
lie.
of people? I have
security, please take
petitioned
it away from the
people
podium.
on
I'm
the
not
street.
answering
You're
any
not
more questions.
listening to me. Why are you against me?
I'm
You're
not
the
a-
mayor. I am asking you to address my
20
concerns.
times I've asked her to
Why
answer 20
can't you
questions.
acknowledge? Why can't you hear me? All I want to do is be heard. I want you to show me some compassion and sympathy.
But all the time, I
It's
am
because you
sympathetic.
don't listen. You make me drag you to court. I have to shout publicly here.
Thank you.
Why
Thank
can't you
you.
just
Thank
listen?
you. I can't change anything. We're doing what's
But
best
why
for
don't
everyone.
you listen?
I'm listening to you.
You're not listening.
You don't
You're
listen
telling
to
me
me.
I care about inconvenience. It's not. You're mischaracterizing
over.
me. And I resent that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why are you against me?
So I'm closing the
Why
meeting.
are you against me? Why
Mayor
aren't you
declares-
trying to help
I
me?
close the meeting at 2:05. Thank you very much. I've answered many of your questions. We're
I
trying to
have
help
one
you.
simple question, Mr. Mayor and
Yes.
council members, because you said you will be taking our feedback into account.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going around with my phone a lot, filming situations wherever I can, because I can't film when I drive. Where can I send this to?
Send it to the office.
Is there, if I go on the website, is there an email where I can and okay, thank you so much. That was my only question.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.